Good morning. Sacred Spiritual Healer here. I am doing the continued, as I have, if you've been following the other videos, you know then we're reading through each card oracle that Spirit gives me for the day. But from the meanings in the book from Brian Froud, the Fairies Oracle, so that the viewers can get a better understanding what Brian Froud and Jessica Macbeth had in mind for when they created the artwork. And that gives the viewer a new perspective, or another perspective I should say, from when they're watching tarot readings, because many of us, like myself, we channel the messages, and then some even use intuition instead of channeling. Needless to say, the messages we give are from the divine and source, but by giving you these messages, what the cards were meant with Brian when they created them, gives you another perspective or an additional message. So I'm just going through each one, and I hope you enjoy it or that it helps. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to show you first what the Spirit wanted for today. And today should be Thursday morning. So the first one up is 36, Spirit Dancer. Okay, next one is 60, the Poop. And again, these were specifically drawn for Thursday morning. Fairies of the Future. When I show these to you just before we read, try to think of what you think that they would be, whether you think they would have been a positive card, a negative card, or what you would have seen out of it when I show you this number 8. I think you'll be surprised that the artwork and the meanings behind them are quite different than what we usually would channel or give for a message. So it's very helpful, I think. That was 59 and 11. The Singer of Transformation, which is like the Rising Phoenix, right? Okay, so first one up, like I said, was 36. So look at this again and see what you think you would take that as. Spirit Dancer, number 36. Okay, self-expression, freedom, exploration. The Spirit Dancer understands both sides of self-expression. In the first stage, we get our inner vision, feelings, and creative impulse out into the world through our art, whatever that is. Then our expressions are reflected back to us from a mirror of the people's perceptions, and we discover what our art awakens in them. First, the most important for us, we learn, we grow, and lead more satisfying lives if we have ways of expressing our inner world. Such expressions can be ways of helping ourselves better understand our feelings and experiences. Or they can be a way of getting pain out where we can look at it and let it begin to heal. Creative expression is a method of exploring our own truths, bringing it into the light so we can see it more clearly, and maintaining sanity. The key words here are exploring, experiment, and express. As this fairy cryptically remarks to one oracle reader, the death of Spirit Dancer is perfection. Second, creative expression is a way of sharing and letting others see more of our true selves. It is a way that we can reach out from the illusions of separation and reaffirm our essential connections with one another. When we share a dance, a painting, a poem with others, We do so with the hopes that they will see something of what we have put into it, and that their experience will echo ours in some way. But if we have done well, we will be able to add something to their experience. At that same time, we understand that their slant on things is a bit different, and that what they reflect back to us by their response will perhaps contain something we haven't seen about our own experience, a new insight, a different view, an expression of our picture of reality. So this side of creative expression, the sharing part, enriches us in a different way than the actual creation. I have never written a poem or sculpted something without the experience changing me, and then changing me again when I shared it with others. This is something I've heard many others say as well, including many who do not consider themselves real artists or real writers. Spirit Dancer encourages us to take creative action from our place of personal power, the inner core of true feelings and understanding within us. She wants us to clarify our vision, find the creative potential that lies hidden in paradox, confusion, and chaos, turns these into a free-flowing, finely balanced, evolving order. She wants to aid us in making our best fantasies real. She also is very enthusiastic about helping us to learn to dance well with the fairies, if we don't already know how. And if we do know how, she would still be delighted to dance with us just for the fun of it. Step out boldly. Now, if you get this card in a reading, now is the time to focus and really concentrate on a project, or process, especially one involving the creative arts. Spontaneity balanced by self-discipline will help us achieve our goals. Strive for elegance and simplicity. This is a time to bring out and share qualities that we have nurtured in private. All right. The next card up is the Pook, number 60. He's so cute. I love the artwork. That's amazing. Okay, number 60, the Pook. Shape changer. Good in bad, bad in good. Paradox, resolution. The Pook is a shape changer. He appears in whatever guise he thinks will be most confusing to you. Depending on his purpose, Brian wrote, he weaves spells to bemuse our senses and confuse our judgment. He is a master of the arts of illusion and delusion, holding up a distorted mirror to reveal the bad in the good and the good in the bad. The Pook also wishes to show us the bad in what we think to be good, and vice versa. This may confuse us further, or it may help us to gain a more balanced understanding of how things really are. He is very against rigid mindsets and, in his own way, encourages the development of inquiring minds. His true face, I'm not certain that a shape changer even has a true face, though he did hold still long enough for Brian to paint him. However, the Pook is very proud of the faces he assumes. With them, he offers us contradictions and paradoxes, and finds it all too easy to confuse our judgments, because we are often not thinking very clearly anyways. Sometimes we even hold 2 or more contradictory beliefs in boxes in our minds. If one is true, we think when we finally consider them, then the other must be false. Not so. Perhaps both are false. Perhaps both are true. Perhaps both are partly true and partly false. We tend to cling desperately to our beliefs, even when we make no sense to others or are in counter to our actual experience. Our paradox and confusions are self-created, and the Pook needs only dress them up a bit, add a little sparkle, dangle them before us in order to induce confusion. In that confusion, we are likely to believe almost anything someone presents to us, just to feel as if we have a metaphorical anchor in reality. His challenge for us is to wake. Sorry, my computer was going to sleep. In the manner of realizing the solution to a Zen cone-like. What is the sound of one hand clapping? When we get the answer, usually by a burst of insight, cutting through the confusion, through the paradox, it always seems to simply, and we wonder how we could have been in such a tizzy about simple things. We wonder why everyone doesn't understand this so obvious thing. If you find this card in your reading, it is time for resolution of seeming contradictions and paradoxes in the situation. Someone or some part of the situation is cloaked in confusion, and our muddled thoughts must be stripped away, revealing truth. We just need to think about it, and the transformation we need is now available to us. And as soon as we have that burst of insight and get it, it's time for us to make changes based on our newly clear understanding. Alternatively, it may be time for us to make a reality check on the good and bad labels we put on things. Make a list of the good, possibly even surprisingly things about this situation, and another list about the bad ones. If you are not in the habit of seeing the good in the bad, and the bad in the good, having a black and white world rather than one with colors, you may need some help in learning to do this as well. Fairies trip you up to give you a new perspective on the world. Brian. Cool. Okay, next, I do have to check that message. 33, Fairies of the Future. I'll give that to you again. Oops, I wanted it to stay there, 33. Oops, one more page. Okay. Be here now. Guidance moving forward. That's funny. Alright, so the gnome of now at the top of the card looks both ways simultaneously. Something that would give a human a crick in the brain if he tried it. However, the gnome has no particular problem with this. Fairies always have a sliding sense of past, present, and future. Anna, in the center, steps boldly forth, pregnant with possibilities and carrying the hazelnut of Grant's wisdom, Poogie, above her. Crouches ready to take off and rush ahead just as soon as she is sure which direction they are going, while the frog above her awaits, hoping to be kissed just to see what will happen. Amalethea, on the left, hesitates momentarily, not sure she is dressed properly or has her hair done right for the occasion. Nearly everyone looks to the future with cheerful optimism. For all of Anna's bold stepping forward, if you look closely, you can see that she has her eyes on the wise gnome king at the lower left. He seems sure of the way to go. He is relying on his gut sense to guide him, knowing that this is his magic and it will serve him better than logic in the unknown future. Being a gnome, a son of earth, he is well grounded in reality, which is what it takes to have trustworthy gut feelings. Anna, being wise, or at least very nearly so, trusts him in this. Of course, she hasn't considered that where he wants to go may be where she would most likely be. Fortunately, he has considered that and pointing her in the right direction. the pleasingly plump gnome lady, admiring the gnome king from her mushroom hopes to be invited on the journey, though she would do better if to invite herself, like all the others, instead of waiting. The old oak man in the lower right is firmly rooted in the present and has no desire to travel in space. His journey is through time only, as he contemplates the wisdom of stillness and deep roots. He is concentrated, serene, and wise because his life suits him, and he has learned to make the best of what he has. He is happy to watch the other fairies pass by. It suits him, but this is not a way most fairies and humans usually choose to live. Both humans and fairies are constantly adventuring into the future, being carried there by old Father Time and Earth Mother, acting hand in hand. Even the galaxies spin into the future, creating strange effects and relationships between time and space and light. He who hesitates doesn't get lost. He gets dragged along, and will he, nil he, bumping, bruising behind the rest. He might as well get up and hustle along as well. It's ever so much nicer a way to travel. These fairies are on an exciting journey to co-create the future with the universe just as we are. They greet each other rising dawn and each rising moon with unconditional and unexpected gratitude. Let's join them. If you get this card in the reading, Brian writes, "These are fairies of a bright future and essential companions on any journey. When these fairies appear, it is time to consider where we have been and where we wish to go. There are many opportunities, many potentials, but we must choose a path and then take realistic, practical steps to bring the desired future into being. This is not a time to wait for things. The time is now to come to us, but to step forward boldly to meet them. We may do this alone, if we wish, or in the company of those who share our goals and dreams." Okay. Number 8, the Singer of Courage. Which makes sense, right? Because the other one was about a journey and making a decision, and it takes courage. The Singer of Courage. Bravery, sublimation of fear, moral strength. Someone once said that courage is not the absence of fear, but that which enables us to experience fear and not be stopped by it. It is also what enables us to do what we believe to be right, even when there is pressure from others around us to do otherwise. It is what enables us to go ahead into the unknown or the perilous, where there are no guarantees of safety or security. In our lives, we are often, even constantly, confronted with a new world, a new way of being in the world, a new way of seeing and being seen. Ordinary living takes courage, and to rise above the ordinary into the extraordinary takes even more courage. One of the keys to courage is to consider the fear and find a way to let the energy of the fear itself power the action. That is true courage. Often people think of courage as being part of a high heroism. It is, but it also has a quiet, hidden side as well, and that may require greater courage because we cannot expect the reward of praise and approval for it. For example, no courage is needed to be unhappy and self-pitying. We do not need to be self-disciplined or wise for that. However, to open our hearts to the risks, vulnerability of joy and trust requires all of those things, especially courage. Within each of us, there is the terrified inner mouse, and there is the brave inner hero. Either part of us can take over from the other. We get to choose which is in charge. The mouse is a magician with only one trick. It can cast an illusion that is as big as an elephant. Then fear nearly overwhelms us, but we still have a choice, learning to live with and manage the reactive animal within. Involves transforming emotions like rage and fear into courage through self-discipline and the help of the singer of courage. If you get this in a reading, most people have decided by the age of 3 or 4 that what they must do in order to survive. From this decision, this belief about how the world is, most of our fears and self-limitations grow. Have we the courage to discover and break through these limiting beliefs, awaken to greater possibilities, and go for our objectives? We need to transcend our fears and accept the gift of courage. And on a side note, remember that fear is an illusion. Alright, so number 51, the topsy-turvies. This, which also is the back of the card. These are the topsy-turvies. They're little mischief people, I believe. I think it's... what number? 51? 51. The topsy-turvettes, change of viewpoint, fresh look, new ways of seeing things. When life is confusing, the turvettes may come to visit you. Nothing draws them like a bit of mental muddle. They don't cause our disarray. We are very good at doing that for ourselves and each other, but they are attracted to it. Confusion is an important stage of growth, and they delight in helping things grow, meaning the confusion. They live everywhere. Not only humans need their help and are exceedingly busy. Fortunately, they are quite prolific, so there are a lot of them. When the topsy-turvies show up, it indicates that someone needs to look again, to make an effort to see things from a different point of view. It suggests that confusion may exist because we are asking the wrong questions, or perhaps we have made assumptions that are incorrect, and we have run into a brick wall built of those misconceptions. The turvettes ask us to back up, to question our assumptions, and to try to see things from another perspective, another viewpoint of others involved in our muddle. They ask us to let go of our attachment to our own point of view, to stop saying ought and should, especially about other people. Most emphatically, they suggest that we start trying to see things as they really are instead of as someone thinks they should be. This card is a warning that someone involved in the question or issue at hand is mentally upside down or possibly sideways. So if you get this in a reading, it says in a reading, the turvettes suggest that things need to be looked at from the other angle. We need to back off from our emotional entanglement and look anew. Much of the apparent confusion about the issue is caused by a faulty point of view. Get the opinion of honest others and then re-look at your own. Defensiveness and denial may be causing much of this difficulty. Try imagining that you are looking at the situation from the point of view of each other, the others involved. This is not an exercise in deciding how the others ought to see things, but in discovering how they really see them. Words like "he ought to see that" are not useful at this time. If the turvette's cards turn up and another point of view does not readily suggest itself, it may be useful to draw another card for further information, or you might choose to do another reading, addressing that issue particularly independently. Remember to pause to listen for the hints from the Tervets themselves. They are the experts in this field. I believe no fairy is completely good or bad, but fluidly embodies both extremes, Brian. You could also ask your spirit guides for help in figuring out which angle to look at it from. Okay, this is 59, the Lasguno. I'll show you again. 59. Nope, can't be 59. 39, sorry. Okay, gotta go back a page. The Lasguna. Okay, sunken treasures, discovery of self and adventure. The realm of Lasguna, the frog queen, is extensive both below and above the water. Fairies' waters are made up of human emotions, sometimes beautifully clear and sparkling, and sometimes disgustingly murky. Different fairies are attracted to different waters. You would hardly expect to find the soul shrinker or gold luminous doom happily splashing in clear sparkling water, although you might find Nels, the alchemist, at a murky pool, holding her nose as she waves a clarifying wand over it. Most of the bright fairies avoid such places. However, Lasguna knows that there are treasures lost in disasters or abandoned by pirates to be found in those murky waters. Exploration is what this card is all about, and through exploring and seeing what we really are, warts and all, Lasguna would like you to know that she doesn't have warts. We discover parts of our talents and potential that have been hidden by old traumas, misunderstandings, lack of opportunity. Lasguna's explorations are not limited to the realm of emotions, but also include the world. She wants us to dive deeply into new experiences, even if the new experience involved flying high. Listen to different styles of music with open ears. Try new tastes. Look at new sights. Try them all with the open willingness of a child. She especially wants us to explore those new ideas. Have you ever noticed how people tend not to explore the territory they live in? How they only visit the special places there when they are trying to entertain someone from out of town? We do the same thing with so many aspects of our own lives, and then sometimes we grumble that life is dull. Life is always adventurous for adventurous people and boring for boring people. My grandmother told me this when I was a child, and I expect she got it from Lasguna. She told me that if I didn't have anything interesting to do, I might as well clean up my room. I took this lesson to heart, and so can you. If life seems boring and you feel stuck in your puddle, either explore the parts of the puddle you haven't really seen before, or jump out and do something new and interesting. I'm sure you, dear reader, are not a bored or boring person. Boring people don't read books like this. Lasguna, if you get this in a reading, Lasguna tells us to pay attention to our dreams, to listen to the murmur of the water, to note the pattern in the damp fallen leaves, to listen for the distant high sounds of angelic music among the stars. She also suggests soothing baths, hot tubs, jacuzzis, trips to the nearest spa or hot springs, and dip in the handiest sea, pond, or mountain lake. The mud bath also helps us quiet down, become strong enough to explore her territory, which is the earth and the waters, from the depths to the heights. As important as it is to explore the inner realms, she tells us that exploring the outer realms is also vital. She suggests that we go places we have never gone before, try things we have never done, take classes in subjects we always meant to study someday, maybe even learn a language and see where that takes us. Explore widely and deeply in our own world so that we develop the adventurousness of our spirit. It almost goes without saying that she recommends exploring fairies. She also suggests kissing any metaphorical or actual frogs you encounter to test for a prince or a princess, but I don't know how seriously you want to take that suggestion. Funny. And the last one is card 11, which was Singer of Transformation, which reminds me of the Phoenix. So let me get this one, 11. The Singer of Transfiguration, and then it means transformation, transcendence, and metamorphosis. The Singer of Transfiguration tells us that we have been through the gate. We have passed through the initiation process, and we have reached a new way of being, reflecting deep transformation within ourselves. Things will never again be what they once were. Things will never be seen in the same way by us, and this is a good thing. This singer's joyful, passionate, bright blaze of colors herald a time of fulfillment and accomplishment. As with the other singers, the power of joy of this one radiates especially strong to the things and beings symbolized by the card around it. Like the reborn, renewed phoenix, this singer of a flame with a vibrant, expanded life. There really isn't much I can say about this. Not even the fairies seem to have anything to add. They are just sitting around here smiling blissfully, even old G. Doom, and humming an ethereal and beautiful melody, and the cat in my lap, Sylvia, is purring so loud it sounds like she is singing, as indeed she is, and so are we all. If this comes into your reading, jackpot! This card in a reading signifies the joy of success after a time of struggle. A new way of life has been accepted and is being integrated. A sense of inner peace is growing. The struggle has all been worth it. This is a time of consolidation and joy, and is both a reward for past achievements and a time of preparation for the next climb up the path. Okay, so these are the cards for today, or this evening, right? And I hope you have a blessed day.